So you knew all these questions were going to be coming, but what's it like, facing off, not head-to-head, but one of your best buds being across the other sideline?
Yeah, we talked earlier in the week, and it's a cool experience, when you get to go against your friend and do all that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is about Ohio State and Notre Dame, and it's certainly not about us. But from the human side of it, I'm proud of him and everything that he's done to lead that program. Obviously, I was there with him for a year, and proud of the work that he's done. And I look forward to seeing him on the field.
He gave you your start in coaching. Did you reach out to him? Did he reach out to you? How did that kind of come about?
Yeah, I had considered coaching from the time that I had gotten done playing. I was always in contact with not only him, but Luke Fickell. They're both together at Cincinnati, so I'd go down there every now and again and just kind of get a feel for it. And I think when you're done playing, you're involved with meetings. I've been playing football since 4th grade. I never really missed time up until my last year with the Saints. So it was like, it's a lot of football. You get tired for a little bit, you get a little break, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I need to be back in it. I need to be back a part of something that's bigger than yourself, being a part of a team, being a part of a family, and trying to help young people, become better football players and better men. So I always stayed in contact with Marcus. I was proud of him when he got to Notre Dame. Kind of always flirted that idea around his time, and just worked out to where he gave me an opportunity.
What did you learn spending the year under him?
Oh, man, everything. Everything. It's different when you're playing. Everything is presented to you. You know what I mean? So the only thing that I had advantage was I knew how to kind of make cut-ups and stuff like that on Exos, because as a player I always made my own cut-ups anyway, and I like to know how to navigate the system. But man, you go back to, you have to refresh your skills when it came to Excel, when it came to PowerPoint, when it came to, I didn't even know what Microsoft Visio was for drawing playbook stuff, so that was a whole new world, and you felt like you were learning all these things at once, but then you had to also learn, how do I want to teach? How do I want to present this information? I felt like I knew so much football, but how are you going to break it down from a day one, hey, here's how I want your feet to be when you're tackling,
Right,
to the full drills that you do. You can't just go right into the drills. You got to start with the basics. So that was challenging. But thankfully, I had some great guys to kind of learn from. You learn from Marcus, took some of his stuff, learned from Al Golden, took some of his stuff, and then thought back to drills that I did when I was playing under Luke Fickell and under Steve Spagnuolo, and just kind of tried to combine everything that I thought worked. And then the other thing is you got to reflect and say, hey, are my drills actually showing up on game film? Because if they're not, then what are we doing? We're wasting time. So it's been a fun process, and you're still learning. I don't think you ever stop learning from that part of it.
So take me back to your playing days with Marcus. You guys, came in and you had future legends ahead of you.
Yeah.
Leading that room. I've talked to some of your former teammates about just the different personalities in there.
There's no doubt.
But you guys were all close. You guys worked out together a lot. You guys never really left each other's side when it came to football. What was that? Take me back to those early days.
Yeah, I think when we were together, Marcus was a year older than me, so we came in. I was a freshman. Sam linebacker. Bobby was the starter. Marcus was the backup. So I remember just, I knew going into college that I wasn't going to play that first year. At least I thought I wasn't going to play, and I was okay with it. Marcus gets hurt, first game of the year against Miami, Ohio. On kickoff, he tears his meniscus, and we were blowing him out. I remember Coach Fickell asking if I was going to be okay with going to the game and burning your red shirt back then on the first snap you go in. I was like, of course, the chance to play in Ohio Stadium, why not? And then something happened with Marcus's knee getting, infected basically after the surgery, which was unfortunate. But during that time, he helped. The more that he was around, he helped me learn the position. He could have taken a negative. He could have taken a negative mindset from it all, but instead he was locked. The guy that was locked in and helping a younger player out. You know what I mean? So it was good. And then the season goes on. We find out Marcus was just a diehard wrestling fan. So as a diehard wrestling fan, I think that's really the only reason why he befriended me at first was because of my dad. So I'm serious.
To say, really?
I'm serious. I think dead on. I think he was just a wrestling fan, and that's why he befriended me early on, which I'm fine with. It ended up helping me out, and we became obviously really good friends.
All right, so forgive me, because I'm kind of a wrestling guy. So your dad is...
He's Road Warrior Animal. of the Legion of Doom.
Holy crap.
Yep.
So he's the little one.
Wow. So, you still paint your face?
No, I haven't done that since like Halloween in high school.
So when Marcus came up to you, I mean, was he asking a lot of questions about your dad and wrestling?
Yeah, he was asking a lot about wrestling, and then there was times where wrestling would come through Columbus, and we'd get to go, and throughout college, we got to go to certain events and stuff. So it was always fun. It was something that we bonded over. You know what I mean? And we had football. We had our Luke Fickle always coached us really, really hard.
Yeah.
So it's like whenever you have a coach that cares about you, like Luke always cared about you, but he coached really hard, and then you go through all that. So it was always we always had stuff to bond over. And Marcus and I were always into a lot of the same things. And, when you're in a linebacker core and you play next to somebody for years, like you got to be locked in together. You guys are working together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, you guys are controlling a lot of checks, and to be honest, he was always such a gifted athlete that he pushed me. Like I was never as athletically gifted anywhere close to what Marcus Freeman was. So I'm grateful for a guy like it would be frustrating working out with him because he was always.
I heard he was a freak.
He was a freak, and it was always like he was always stronger in squats and power cleans and bench. Like the only thing I could get him at was conditioning. That's the only thing I could get him at. Like if it was a sprint, he'd get me. But if we were doing like 10 110s, I might be able to outlast him there. But it was always someone that just. You're thankful for guys like that in the room because they just make you better every day.
Was he always?
You guys played in 2 national championship games together, you and Marcus. Now one of you is going to win your first national championship against the other. That's why. You guys are best friends.
I mean, I think it's just we've always tried it. We talked this week. We're trying to make it like Ohio State's going to win another one or Notre Dame's going to win another one. It's not anything between us. I think honestly, you're just from a friend standpoint, you're just proud of him and the job that he's done. I'm excited to see him before the game, and then once that ball gets kicked off, you just kind of everything goes to how is your unit playing, and then how do you need to adjust within the game, and then afterwards you'll handle the emotions of it all. To be honest, you want to just get to the end of the game, and move on because it's like there are real emotions you can't avoid with it all. But it's also like what an awesome blessing. Like how many people get to say they're going against their really good friend in the Natty.
Coach Tressel was telling me this week about how he hated having to coach against Mark Antonio because they were close buds. And he says, I imagine the emotions that you guys are going through. He said, you'll downplay it, but he won't hit you until after the game.
Yeah.
And he tied that to this about how those 2 national championship games you guys had and lost and how disappointing that was to him. You can imagine what that's like for you guys. And maybe that being some motivating factor where you guys came into a linebacker room that was pumped up and ready to go win championships and you guys fell short.
Yeah.
Now you have another opportunity as a coach. And now you're doing it against each other. It's got to be a little weird.
It is a little weird. I mean, it's a much grander stage, I think, for Marcus. He's the head coach of a major blue blood university. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to make sure that my unit over here is locked in and prepared the best that they can be. But you try to carry those memories with you, and you try to use it as motivation. Look, like the reality of it is, when you choose a school like Notre Dame or Ohio State. And I can only refer. I played at Ohio State, right? So from our perspective is, and I told the guys, nobody walks through the hallways of the Woody Hayes facility talking about runners up. They don't. That's the reality of it. We even talk about what are some radio debate is great. Like what are some of the best teams that never. No, like nobody really talks about 06. They don't talk about 07. 05 may have been more talented than both. Nobody talks about it because 05 team lost twice and didn't win a natty. So. If you want to be remembered forever, you go inside the indoor facility and you see the banners that are hung. And so that was the standard when you chose that school. It's still the standard. So I tell them that from personal experience, like, okay, what's it all mean? It means make sure you're doing your job, make sure you're preparing the same way. You don't have to do anything extraordinary in it. It just becomes when talent equates, you have to be locked in on your technique, and you have to be disciplined and just do it one play after one play after one play. It's part of the silver bullet mantra. It's like next play is the most important. And you have to be locked in. And I think our guys have been very mature. We've been blessed with a very mature room that's been locked in. And they can handle that message. Nobody remembers the runner-up. So
you worked working 1 year with Marcus, and then now you've seen him on TV and everything. Is he Coach Tress and some of your teammates told me that they think they see a lot of Coach Tress in him. The way he's just kind of always cool. Yeah. He's not yelling on the sideline. He's all,
One thing about Marcus is he's taking he's a mixture of Coach Tressel Some of his one-liners, I think, from being around Luke Fickell a lot, there's a combination there. But the way his teams play, there's a lot of coach trust in there, right? They want to establish the run game. They play unbelievably hard across the board. They're incredible on defense. Your special teams are always going to be a problem, right? They're going to try to. The thing about Marcus is he's not just trying to go through the motions on special teams. You can tell, like, they're going to have fake punts. They're going to have different ways to, like, they're going to go after the punt. Like, they're going to try to block it, right? They're going to have reverses.
Sugar Bowl, a couple penalties. Yeah.
There's going to be reverses on kick return. I wouldn't be surprised if there's, like, they practice surprise onsides on kickoff, right? So he makes you prepare across the board. And it's a sign of being really well coached. And so it's been impressive to see, like, he's still the same guy. Like, I can read his body language on the sideline probably better than some. I think Tressel was maybe a little calmer, but that's good. Like, you have to be yourself, right? Like, the thing about being in football is you have to be authentic, because the guys in the locker room can smell you out if you're being fake. So he's under control, but, like, I think his passion, like everyone talked about before the A&M game, right? Like, his passion, like, the players feed off that. Same way our players feed off of Coach Day when he comes out passionate. Like, you can't be somebody that you're not. If you're not that person, you can't fake it. Players will recognize it.
James, can you just describe your friendship with Marcus, what that looks like, and what that conversation might look like after the game? You said kind of looking forward to that.
Well, I look forward to seeing him before the game. After the game stuff is a little dicey. Nobody knows, like, confetti and all that. Like, realistically, I want to see him before. I hope to see him after, no matter what the result. But our friendship is just, it's just been consistency. You know, one of the things about Marcus I'll never forget is that my father passed away in 2020. And I'm almost more appreciative of it now, being in the profession, but he consistently called me for about a 2-week span every day after work, just to check in on me to make sure I was doing all right. And knowing, like, our hours now and all of that, like, as you reflect, you're like, man, that's a true friend right there. It's like when you go through one of your worst moments as a human, and you find out, like, who your friends really are. Like, everyone, it's easy on social media to post, like, hey, thinking about you, all that. He consistently called me for every day for a couple weeks, and I'll never forget that. And so, you know, he's always just been consistent. He's one of those friends that obviously, like, you know how to poke each other. So I could easily get him fired up if I wanted to, and vice versa.
Will you do that on Monday?
I don't know. I'll be like on Monday. I just look to, you know, shaking his hand, give him a hug, and tell him I'm proud of him, and then we go about our way. But I think Coach Truss is right. I don't think you'll really kind of, like, look back on this moment until later. You're so like, you have so much to do. Like, I mean, I got 2 meetings to think about today, a couple walkthroughs. You know, you're so locked in on the X's and O's of it all. But just thankful for his consistency through the years.
Do you remember meeting him?
But back in
I
I just remember going into the room and just kind of being like, holy smokes, like, I knew about, like, AJ, Bobby, and, like, those guys, Schlegel, Mike DeAndrea, but I didn't know about, like, to be honest, I didn't know about Marcus. I wasn't really big into, like, studying recruiting sites and all that stuff. But I walked in and, like, you learn about, I mean, John Kerr had transferred over after being, like, a freshman All-American in Indiana, and then Marcus Freeman was a 5-star from down the road. And you're like, holy smokes, I didn't know about the backup guys, like the next wave. And just being like, no matter what star you are, like, you're the man when you come from your high school, and then you get to a spot and you're like, holy smokes, everyone's been the man somewhere. And it challenges you, like, that adversity challenges you to really dig and try to find yourself, you know? So, but I don't remember the first exact, like, time I met.
What's to you about him when you first got to know him a little bit?
It's just like personality. You're forced to be around each other all the time when you're in the linebacker room. So naturally, those are the guys that you're closest with. You know, like, we bonded over obviously wrestling and being a wrestling fan, and then we just enjoy being around, like, working out. We all both wanted the same things. You know what I mean, as far as our goals. And a lot of stuff aligned, whether it was playing video games or whatever it was. Like, it seemed to always sync up.
You were on radio, obviously. Did he describe the process by which he kind of lured you into coaching?
No, he didn't lure me. I mean, I was pursuing him. Like, I asked, you know, I was calling Vic all the time. I was calling Marcus all the time, and just was trying to find a way. I mean, I had been in conversation with Coach Day. Just trying to, the coaching business, now that you're in it, there's so many people that are trying to get in it, right? And there are so many guys who are probably qualified, and you just have to have the right timing and the right relationship. And I'm grateful that my first opportunity was to go to Notre Dame. And look, that's your first job. A lot of people's first job is at Notre Dame, a school of that magnitude. So to go there for a year, to be around him, and then to have it's a really hard thing when you first get into it. You're learning a lot. Football, but you're learning a lot of how to teach it all, and then to have it be around him, and Al Washington and Mike Mickens, who I know from college, all of these people that you were at least, it gave you a level of comfortability where it wasn't a bunch of strangers. So it's good.
What did he teach you? How did he kind of bring you in the fold and help you become a coach?
I mean, there'd be certain conversations here and there. I think one of the, he taught me a lot about recruiting. He taught me a lot about, a lot of times you have to keep it, you have to try to make really complex ideas simple. And everyone has a different learning style. So you have to get creative in how you're trying to, for us, what might work for Cody Simon might not work for Hayden Pierce or Arvell Reese or CJ Hicks or Cody or Sonny. I mean, they're all different. So you're not just coaching the starters because everyone's going to play away. So you got to you're always coaching. How do I make sure that the guys that are 2s and 3s understand it? Because it's easy to I'm not worried about Cody. Cody will figure it out. You know what I mean? But you got to coach them all differently.
What makes Jim Knowles' defense, whether it's different, his coaching style? Because everywhere he's been, it seems like year to year they get better. Oklahoma State, obviously Ohio State. What's that been like being around him these last few months?
It's been awesome. I mean, he's extremely smart. He's got this. He's got this ability to always think about unleashing the best players that he has, and getting creative and hey, what looks have we shown, and what are they going to expect, and then how do we use that against them? And he has a knack for calling the right thing, all in the right situation. It's incredible. It's incredible. He has the ability, and I think this year with adapting to teams huddling some and all of that, and before he was really good at, hey, they're lining up in this set, here's the call, boom, he's got you. And teams with the huddle and all that, he can do it all. He can do it all. So I think he's done a really nice job of just using the best talent that he has in the field.
What's it been like for you just the first year as a coach?
It's been fun. I mean, it's been fun. You're responsible for your ropes, and it's the best part is the relationship that you build every single day with the guys, and you see the growth and development. All right, and you see some of your drills show up in games and all that. It makes you excited. And all you want to do as a coach is make players feel that they've got better. You know what I mean? And that they can trust you. I've been blessed with a really good group.
You came close as a player to winning all, in the college.
Yeah.
What would it mean for you to win Ohio State?
I mean, it'd just be awesome for Ohio, just to help Ohio State win a national championship. It's not about me. It's about these players and the work they put in. Really, the whole collective group of coaches. If you think about, I think coming up the Tuesday after Martin Luther King Day was the first team meeting. We start talking about what do we have to do to get to this spot. You think about all the work that has gone into it, the hours. And the reality of it is, you'll only be remembered if you win it. So it's you have to finish the thing, and it'll be a big challenge on Monday night. But it's more about trying to get another one for Ohio State.
What's Marcus like when he gets angry? Have you seen him angry?
Oh yeah, plenty of times. How to describe it? Just very direct. I mean,
yeah.
The good thing is that he's able to address an issue and then keep it moving. It doesn't fester. You know what I mean? So he'll address something, he'll hit it, and he'll keep it moving. So I think that's one of the good qualities about him. So it's but he'll be loud. he doesn't let it just fester either. Like it's gonna come out. He's not gonna. You'll know by his body language when he's not happy.
When you're both in the same guys in each other's weddings.
Yes.
Were you best man or what was?
No, I wasn't his best man, but we were both in each other's weddings. My brother was my best man.
Okay.
But yeah, we were both there. Our wives know each other.
Yeah.
From college. Probably complaining about us. But yeah, we've obviously the kids know each other from over the years, so I won't catch him. I mean, he's got 6, I got 4. I'm not trying to catch him.
You guys could play flag football.
No doubt.
It's I think Bobby was telling me. Put a flag football team together.
No doubt.
All the
No
kids
doubt.
everybody's had in their room.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Have you played a quarterback like Riley in terms of anybody that you as a player? Well, yeah, maybe I played against Russell Wilson and Colin Kaepernick for years. I think the thing about Riley, Riley has that toughness about him that Tebow had. Where it's coach speak to be like, oh man, if they're gonna run on this much, we gotta make sure we put hits on them. Make sure every team has said that. Every team has done that, right? So you're playing like another running back, but also he's not he's a quarterback. You know what I'm saying by that? I don't want to disrespect his throw game by just saying but his ability to I need to get something done with my legs. He's not going to slide, and he's going to sell out. And I think that's what captivates their team. Is that you watch the game against USC, and he's leaping and flipping. Georgia, he's flipping, and he's put his body on the line. He gets smoked against Penn State, comes back in, and when the game's on the line, it's 2 QB runs in a row to punch it in. The team rallies behind that. When they know they're forward, I think the same thing our team does with Will, right? You're gonna get up. It's funny. It's the same opponent, right? Will ices the game against Penn State. He gets up fist pumping, and it's that same thing. When you have a guy that takes care of the ball every single snap, he's tough, and they fight, and they're gonna put everything on the line to get that win. Both quarterbacks are the same way in this one. It was a huge challenge for us because he's not a guy that's gonna tap out.
What was how many wrestling events did you and Marcus go to?
We went to at least 2 WrestleManias. Maybe 3.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Maybe 3 WrestleManias.
You get him backstage and all?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Pretty fanboy out over everybody. Yeah.
When you guys aren't facing each other for a national championship, how often would you say you check in with each other?
Once every few weeks, probably check in with each other. Yeah, I'll probably say once every 2 weeks.
Is that just to catch up or trade industry secrets? Or?
No, just catch up. Just catch up. Ask how the family's doing, how the wives are doing, kids, all that. Just making sure each other are good, like normal friends.
Hey James,